Hey, welcome everyone. This is Trace Thomas with Rev Talks, and I'm here to talk to everybody today about some of their websites and some of the different concerns we've been having that we've been seeing come through emails and text messages and some of the different platforms we have out there. Basically, when it comes down to a website, there's websites and there's marketing platforms, if you will. And not every website's built the same. So for most business owners out there, you're really looking for a solid marketing style website, a website that's going to do something for you, right? Not something that somebody just built, out of the garage, or a family or friend built something. That it might even be a web developer. Nothing wrong with web developers building, web designers, web developers building an actual website for you and your business. However, if they don't have that marketing background, which hopefully they do, that plays a large role. But if they don't, it can really seriously hurt you. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and kind of go through it. Now, keep in mind, anything we do in our checklist, we have a website checklist we give to people to check out and kind of go through, each things, you can go through every single topic and item line by line and kind of look at your site, get an idea of what it looks like and how it's operating. And we have some free tools. If you come to any one of our free workshops, there's a bunch of free tools you can get. There's some paid ones as well that you guys can use and track your website and how well it's working on a daily basis. Whether it's something as far as keywords, or search engine optimization. If you're diving into it deep and you have somebody that's working analytics, we can even go into a little bit more detail on that. So I'll screen share with you a little bit here and show you just a few things we can go through. So I'll kind of scroll right down through here. It's a new workbook we're coming out with. It's actually been out for a couple of years, but it's a newer, updated one. But basically, when we say responsive design, there are still so many. This is kind of an older term. It's still around, but for the most part, a lot of websites being built now are just automatically responsive because of whether it's a WordPress, or if you're even some guys that are doing it themselves, their sites don't really rank the best. But if you get a do-it-yourself type of website, it's Wix or GoDaddy, even those themes are responsive now. But there are a lot of websites on the internet right now for business owners that they just don't know. And the old saying, you don't know what you don't know. Well, we're here to tell you, you need to know. You need to make sure that your website is responsive, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail on that in a second here. But content and design is a big thing. Navigation for users, and then the marketing platform. Do you have a strong ROI on it? How do you calculate your return on your investment? A lot of people don't. A lot of larger companies, most larger companies will always manage taking care of return on investment. Smaller businesses sometimes just don't pay attention to it, and it's something that you can really, you can take your company to the next level just simply by paying attention to that return on the investment. And let's go over some of that stuff. This is a rough draft, by the way. This is not fully this book isn't released yet. Something I'll be releasing sometime in next month or two here. So and I'm going to only cover some of these. We can't go through all of them today. We only get like a 20-minute session, so for Rev Talks here. But is your website easy to read and displayed well on your cell phone and computer? Basically, when it comes to responsive design, you need to look in your area. Now, some people will say, well, mobile is 80-90% of people using mobile. That's not a true fact. Most people are using mobile, but not in all areas. So it really depends on where you're at. We have people that are in Miami, and then we have people that are in New York. We have people in Ottumwa, Iowa. We have people in Racine, Wisconsin. We have Amherst, Virginia. I can sit here and go on. In the rural areas, sometimes that plays a large role, and whether they're on the computer or whether they're on their mobile device, and they still could be purchasing your product or service. So keep that in mind. Yes, my site looks good on a computer and not so much on maybe mobile devices. For instance, maybe you have a form on your computer when you Google your website, and or you type in your URL on your website and you go there and you see the form on the top of your site, fill out your name, number, or buy this product, whatever it is. Does that actually look well on the mobile device? Now, when I say mobile device, everybody thinks phone right away. So we have different things that people can do. You guys know that people can even look at your site and check things they buy things on TV. They might be Googling you on your TV now with all these smart TVs, right? It's a smaller percentage, but they also have, other than cell phones, you also have a lot of tablets and iPads and whatnot. So keep that in mind. You need to kind of explore. If you have a development company that's done it, they probably did it right, and they probably looked at everything from A to Z, cradle to grave, if you will. They've looked at from beginning to the end. They kind of monitored whether they might have built it for mobile and then it works on desktop and everything else, or they built it for desktop and it works on mobile. There's different versions on how to do that. And then, but one of the things we want to talk about is number 2 is the most valuable information on the top, or do you need to scroll down really far on your mobile device, your computer? So keep that in mind when you're looking. You need to be able to address the reason why they need to buy your product and service pretty quickly. Over the years, Google has indicated that people read at a certain level, and it went from a higher grade level of reading down to a lower grade. That doesn't mean people have become uneducated. What that means is our ability to move faster, and a website pops up quick. I want to get there. I just want to buy it. Are you addressing their pain points, if you will? Are you creating solutions? All this kind of stuff is taking a role and taken apart. And once again, you really need to know what your exact demographics are, but more so your personas and what people are looking for and how they shop, and to take care of that, to address that on your website. Does your site appeal to the personas of your demographics, which is kind of what I was just talking about? And that's kind of difficult if you haven't been to the workshop. It's difficult, but if you've been to the workshop, you guys know we give some free tools out there. You can kind of check different keywords, and easy to find out how people are kind of doing different things, what they're looking for. And that kind of helps out a lot there too. So we can cover that more in detail. Is the bottom of the funnel's call to action easy to find on a mobile device? A lot of times people will you have your top of the funnel and you have your bottom of the funnel. And they only address where the contact, like up at the top, that's it. But there are a percentage of people that read, very thoroughly read. And keep in mind that your engagements on a website, the ability to keep somebody engaged on a website can be a bit tricky. But once you've got them engaged, that smaller percentage or that higher percentage, depending on what product or service you sell, they may very well read every single word on your landing page or every one on your product page. They may read all your reviews. At some point, you have to make it easy, okay, for them to click and still purchase, or to, if you're creating, if you're a company that's a dance studio that's not selling anything, or a martial arts academy, or gymnastics, versus, you could be a chiropractor, so chiropractor might want to schedule them for appointment, where a dance studio wants to just get their lead information, and so somebody can call them back. Or if you're a company that's trying to sell a product, maybe you're selling vitamins, or maybe you're an outdoor company and you're trying to sell outdoor stuff, and they want to buy that product right there. But they may very well have a question too. So you have to be able to address all that. So whatever that call to action offer and what you're doing, they have to be able to address that right there. 5 is going to be, is your site utilizing scalable images and graphics? Okay, this is a difficult one. You see you see this a lot in blogs nowadays, a whole lot, because websites have now, most websites have blogs and they have podcasts. Well, people upload an article, and the blog image, when you pull it up, will come up like super big, just distorted and everything else. It's got to be scalable. And it's basically how your website's built, but then also it has to do a little bit with what you're uploading. If your pictures are out of proportion on a mobile device on your main web pages, that's your web developer, and those aren't really optimized efficiently. And keep in mind, those photos have to be optimized very efficiently in order for Google to show their clientele, which are the people looking for your company. So, and I'm talking kind of fast, but I'm really going to talk even faster because I have to get all the way through this. Okay. Does your site's performance score well? There are a lot of ways of scoring a website, guys. And I'll tell you what, I've been in the marketing business for many, 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 many years. I've owned multiple marketing companies. And, as an entrepreneur myself, I can tell you right now that it's confusing. Which one do I go by? You have to have a set one you're going to use. There are some free tools out there, not necessarily the best, but there's some paid tools out there that are very good. And then there's, of course, those ones that are really super expensive. But you have to be able to score your site. And your site's performance is based on a lot of things. It's based on your good one's going to be talking about is load times. What is a load time? How fast do your site load? Some sites load 5-6 seconds. That's not like the 1 and 2 seconds, or even below that, super fast. Google is looking for that super fast website to load. think of this, search engines, I'm going to use Google for an example. They're trying to deliver the best product, the best searchable content for their clientele, which are the people, their users, if you will, which are the people Googling. So if you Google right now, if maybe you're thinking about taking you and your wife, or maybe you and your husband or your children, whatever you're looking for, maybe it's a restaurant, could be a daycare, whatever that is, right? You're searching for that. Google wants to deliver what's best for you. So if you have a site that everybody's bouncing off the site, the bounce rate's bad for a lot of different reasons, but maybe one of them is it just loads so bad, no one's even staying on the site. What that means is they Google your website, your website's pulling up, and some people think, in the rural area, it's my internet, and then other areas, it's in Miami and New York where the super high speed internet's all there, and your website just doesn't pop up. It doesn't pull up. It's taking 6-7 seconds. It's like really super long to pull up. There's ways to test that. And you want to make sure you get it tested because you want to make sure it's done right. And in our workshop, which I'll be talking a little later when that's going to be occurring, which we basically have once a quarter, you're welcome to come there. We test your website for you, as well as you test your website. We take you through it, just really easy, simple, step by step. It's super easy. Hold your hand the whole entire way, and we take you through it and get you through everything on there. But if you want to come to one of those, we can help you out. But so far, the takeaway from the website stuff is going to be really be on this first one right here. This responsive design is you have to make sure it's responsive, it's quick. It's done mainly, takeaway is mobile devices and any other devices you could think of, the desktop, a lot of people aren't necessarily doing it for, big screens or whatever, but it just depends. You'll be able to tell, and we'll show a lot of examples. And if some of you out there will raise your hand, say, let's use your website as an example. We'll be using your website as well for the workshop, and we go through it, and then we help you get it fixed right away. So we tell you, okay, if you got a web designer or web developer that's doing it for you, or if maybe it's your brother, maybe it's your uncle, I don't really know, maybe it's one of your dance studio students or parents or something, we'll help you get through it, and we're going to tell you what's the best practice and why you want to do it. Next, let's go into content and images. This is kind of, on a website, they say content is king. So even this statement here is kind of not really the best one for the chapter, because the content on the site is copy, which is like written material. You got images, you got videos, all that kind of stuff really plays a large role when you're looking at a website and when you're searching for a website. You guys have all heard of Groupon. Groupon uses images. They use coupons. Amazon, they use images. What's the first thing when you go to buy a product on Amazon? What do you see? Name, title up above, right? Then you see pictures, and you can scroll through the pictures. Pictures help sell. So some people say, well, do I have to have a professional photographer come out? In some situations, it's almost mandatory. You have to do it. In other products and services, not always. Something simple as the new iPhones that are out there now, new Androids that are out there, all the different phones out there. The cameras are just amazing. I mean, this Pro Max that I have, this 13, this is just phenomenal pictures. Up close, far away, it doesn't matter. The zoom factors are just there, So those images can be uploaded to your website. Yes, they can be. And you can deliver those to your web developer, or if you're a do-it-yourself, or you have a family or friend, once again, you'll be able to take pictures. So, and that just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So keep in mind, images is one thing. The copy is really important. The content, which I'm going to cover right now, are the content, number one here, it says, is your content images attracting site visitors? Does your site actually yield a large amount of traffic based off the content and based off of the when I say content, once again, the copy, the written material, like somebody's telling they read a sentence. Is the sentence really something that's going to grab somebody? You really want that to grab somebody and pull them in. If you have images, maybe the image is going to speak volumes. Maybe you are a, let's just say martial arts school, or maybe you're a plumber, you could be a doctor, whatever that is. You've seen poor images that represent your industry really poorly. And that's something we see all the time, because what happens is the business owner, I'll use an example of a martial arts person. One of our sales guys was just talking to last week, consultants. And the martial arts was showing this picture of this guy doing something really brutal. 70% of his people were kids. 70% of his clientele were kids, and that's what he wanted to keep it at. But yet this picture he's showing is more like a Krav Maga style, martial arts, something that's really combative, something that's very driven towards military, law enforcement, civilians that are into the combat situation, maybe some MMA guys, right? But not something that's geared towards moms that are looking at. That's that personas we talked about earlier, and the demographics. You have to know exactly who's looking at your website, right? And that image is so important. Another one I can think of right now is a hamburger place that was doing hamburgers, and some prime hamburgers, premium hamburgers that are very expensive. And I saw the website, I was just impressed. But then when it came to images, I was like, okay, these are what they were delivered. They're sample ones, I understand. And of course, our company's job is to say, hey, look, we're going to have to change these. These are where we're going to need a little bit better photo, because the pictures didn't look very good at all whatsoever. It didn't look appetizing. It didn't stand out, because those vibrant colors make a difference. And there's difference in level for those of you out there that are designers. You understand that, colors play, the contrast of everything plays such a large role on a website. And it's so important to make sure that that's being done correctly. So we want to make sure that we're all on the same page with that, okay? So do your page titles match your page content? I'm going to tell you, most of you do not. You need the page title, the page content, and the images. You'll have, I'll use this for a door company, for example. We have a door company that I think the guys are working with right now, and it's a very large company. And when they do the doors and windows, the doors and windows that they currently have on their website, it's showing doors, but it's talking about windows. And for search engine optimization, for optimizing that site correctly, is one factor. Other factor, you just keep in mind what the search engines do is they say, hey, look, is this information, are we selling them all the windows? Are we talking about windows, or are we confusing the customers? Because Google knows all too well that if you land on that website and then people are bouncing off, it doesn't end very well. Okay, so the bounce rates go high, which means they go to the website and they bounce right back off, meaning they leave your website. We want to make sure that you're driving people to your website, they stay on and stay engaged. Okay, let's see. So is your site, number 3, is your site content images optimized with keywords that match the page content to get your brand seen online? Okay, I was just talking about it. All has to match. Your page content's all got to be the same. Good example was that karate guy I was talking about earlier. He had, it's all about showing martial arts that's for adults on a kid's page. It doesn't work, right? You guys can understand that, I think. Does your site have fresh and up-to-date content? Okay, so there's static websites and there's dynamic websites. It's something that's always changing and being updated, moving. Google's seeing growing, impacting people. Now, if you got something that's working really well, you may not want to change it. But once again, all the analytics and data is going to be able to give you that research. But you definitely want to be adding fresh content, which most people are doing now is blogging, which is tremendously well. So you can add the fresh content there. You can also add videos. You might have a gallery, you're uploading some images. You might have a podcast, which is considered videos, and audio. So doing that. Google your company's name and click images. This is really kind of interesting, because this is what we teach in there. Do you see your images and photos from your website come up in the search results? So you Google name of your business and then click on images up top with Google and see if your images come up. Are they up there? Are the search engines finding them? Are they sharing them? Are they on different URLs? There's a lot of things that you can do by checking some of this stuff. Really basic stuff here. Another one is going to be number 6. Does your site's optimized pages, optimized images score well? So the GTmetrix is one way. There's a lot of different ways to test this, by the way, again, too. So this is one of the ways we use this. And you score, if your site scores well, it scores well, right? Okay. Keep in mind that the score is not always the only thing that matters. It has to be a good score, but even smaller sites will score well. But smaller sites, typically with a page or two, are not going to outdo a larger website in most cases that have a lot of content that's optimized specifically for all these different products and services. If you're selling, I'll take the burger thing, for example, the menu is an item of 25 different things. If you have one page with 25 different items on there, it's not going to be optimized very well. Okay. Imagine having let's say you're I brought up dance and gymnastics and martial arts so far. Let's say chiropractor I talked about. I'm trying to pick a different industry. let's talk about cars, auto dealers. Let's say you're talking about Chevys and specifically a Chevy pickup of some sort, or maybe you're a Dodge and it's Dodge Ram, and whatever one you're going to, having a page or two or more about that vehicle and the content about that vehicle, whether it's used or new, makes a huge difference. Okay. Now imagine having one page with all of the different cars you sell. Google's going to deliver that page possibly, but it's going to be farther down because the person that has the most amount of content about there, the king of content, will still win if it's mapped out correctly. Okay, and I'm at 5 to 3 right now. I really want to spend more time on this, but I plan on covering the navigation for users, which is going to be next week. I'll cover that, and then the marketing platform will be the next one. So we're going to cover these and then score them. And next week we plan on, I'll have probably either Greg Moody or another person I'll have on with me, and we'll do some screen sharing and have some fun with it. Hope you guys enjoyed Rev Talks Monday, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care, everybody. Thanks. Bye.